lunchtime is a major incentive. I would only venture to raise one very short point, which is adequate for a lunch break, and starting with Zamaria and also addressing it somehow to Marco. And I would quote here a countryman from René, Arnold Boot, who discussed the excessive complexity of the financial system. And the point is, aren't we rebuilding from the opposite side, from the side of financial supervisory architecture, a level of complexity with which it is very difficult to cope in the years to come?
I think that that is the case. I think that to some extent it's of our own making. Charles was referring why the resolution authorities are separated from the supervisory authorities and the central banks in most of the countries. I think that going forward we may see some streamlining of institutions, but I think that right now in the Eurozone, yes, we have too many players, not just too many rules, sometimes contradictory, also, you know, too many players behind each of the rules. How this goes ahead, it's difficult. In Europe, we have this federal construction with you know, member states being, you know, still very relevant. We talk about proportionality, we talk about subsidiarity. So I'm not sure that Europe is prepared to simplify as fast as we would need, but that's a huge problem going forward. Yeah? This is a very complex system, also in terms of institutions.
If I can, I would simply suggest that we accept complexity. Because the world is complex, and we are lucky enough that finance and law can cope with complexity. I say this because, to my mind at least, also many of these resolutions could have performed better if we used better designed and perhaps more complex structures. So we shouldn't flee away from complexity. What it is important to my mind is that we try to make it simple in terms of general principle. So what I would advocate is that we concentrate now on a simplification exercise as to the level 1 of the rules. These must be very simple. They should be few, because they actually impinge on fundamental rights also, and they are subject to judicial review. And judges, even more so, because we do not have a specialized Court of Justice on financial matters yet, judges cannot be requested to go into these details because they come from time to time, but they are not frequent flyers on these issues. So very broad general principles at level 1, and then I would say I would set a very complex system of level 2 rules, very much organized also through digital technology, so to have a better access to it. IBA already organized this, ESMA is in the process of doing it. So secondary, or let's say level 2 and level 3, also the handbook, we must accept that they will be a little bit complex.
Thank you, Marco. And by the way, I very much agree, although we don't have time now to debate. And on this more positive note on complexity and complexity of the world, we turn to a simpler issue, which is lunch. We'll resume, e passa a português. Vamos recomeçar às 2h30 em ponto. Muito obrigado a todos.